I overslept and I'm tired if you can't tell, but I'm still going to do the review anyway, so just getting that out of the way. A nifty little storytelling device that Hunter x Hunter uses is the fast travel, which really makes the pacing sharp. An example of that in this episode is them making it into the drug factory right after seeing it. We know they can get there, and if nothing in the forest was there, it would have been really boring, so we skip it. The animation went up a couple of notches in this episode, I would say. The group discovers guns along with D2 in the factory, along with some ants that they sense. Now really, say what you will about Hunter x Hunter's music, I happen to be a huge fan of it because it can be subtle when it needs to be and amp up accordingly. Although I will admit there are times when the music they choose doesn't really fit the scene. Now here's something really interesting besides the rest of the show. Yunju comes in with some naked human slaves and crushes them before Gon and the group can do anything. Gon is forced to simply watch as they beg for their lives as dogs, unable to look away due to the dangerous foes in front of him. In other stories, the human slaves would have been saved after all of the ants had been defeated. A human begging like a dog with his tongue out and still getting killed anyway is pretty dark no matter how you slice it. I also enjoy how Yunju thinks of this little drug factory as his castle. The simplicity and motive of the scene is set up rather quickly with Yunju killing his human dogs and wanting replacements. Though I'm sure he would have tried to kill Gon's group anyway, so it's more of a secondary motive, just meant to be a cool line to start the battle. The fight begins with Kite taking on Yunju, Gon taking on the one with lots of arms, and Killua taking on the flying one. I'm real pleased that they managed to make Gon's sideways punch to the lower set of the ant's left arms look exactly like it did in the manga, which is with Gon's leg elongated and most importantly his face is rigid. They also did justice to Killua turning on his kill you assassin mode, but Madhouse loves Killua and always gives him really good scenes. Killua gets stabbed in the back with a poisonous stinger that we all know will probably be ineffective. He plays it smart and plays possum. A good directive choice was used here in turning the perspective of the room upside down when Killua twists her neck. Another difference in series here, the ant admits she was weaker, which is pretty damn rare for a defeated villain to say so confidently and immediately. At least in a lot of the things I've seen, they'll go down screaming usually. The episode hits its halfway mark with an oddly placed scene of Ramut struggling. They could have just moved this to the end, but it does kind of foreshadow what's happening with him and make it seem like it's happening in real time along with Gon's battle, instead of just suddenly being thrust upon us at the end. Hunter x Hunter has amazing battle logic, man. Even the insignificant ant Gon fights just has tons of logic for every mental simulation he ran about Gon's possible attack. He's sweating profusely while he thinks of all this though, so he probably knows he's about to get destroyed. Kite and Yunju exchange some well-written dialogue, and Yunju is disposed of after a few brushes with Kite with a headshot. For all his talk, he just can't compare to someone like Kite. Random note, the shadows on characters in this episode are just top notch and everything seems to have a shimmer to it. They were using a really top tier bunch of animators for this one. Makes you wonder how future stuff will look if this minor stuff had this much attention to detail. The ant, after all of his perfectly sound logic, charges Gon and gets sliced in half with the newly unveiled attack rock, paper, scissors. I'll go ahead and say that the spread the manga did for Gon's scissor attack was a good bit cooler than the way the anime did it, but still. Similar to a lot of creatures in stories, chimera ants have to be shot through the head for them to really die. Kite does the deed while his crazy slots gives him advice on how to kill. Also, I've got to get him props because they kind of seem to have had trouble drawing Kite maybe in previous episodes. They've done him well, but not like exactly how the manga looks. But he was drawn really well in this episode, and he does actually seem like a hard character to draw. I like to imagine it's always a struggle for attention between Kite and Crazy Slots, and I love the clash between their attitudes Togashi gives us. It's hilarious to see Kite so bothered. As if these creatures couldn't get any worse, and trust me, they get so much worse. Ramut has awakened the power of Nin while the narrator has a grim tone to his voice that completely matches the oh shit factor that brings to the table. He's absolutely ecstatic and psychotic. Now he can kill Gon and Killua and quote-unquote crap on their skulls, which seems to be his primary motivation for living right now. I guess if I were to kill someone and crap on their skull, the real world gives me a lot of people to choose from. And you have to give props to Ramit because he's at least passionate about his dreams, unlike some of the dreams people have in real life. Okay, so it's almost redundant to call a Hunter x Hunter episode good, but this one was really that. In Kung Pao, they call things gnadab or something if it's really evil. I wish there was a word like that for good. Anyway, I'm still a fairly new reviewer, so I can still tweak my rating system a bit. To give this episode an S would be weird and silly. That's really supposed to be reserved for like final episodes and climaxes and stuff. But I feel even an A+ is too low because I thought everything here was stellar. So from here on out, the A rank will go up to A+++. If a teacher gives you above an A+, it basically means you can go get coffee with them or play Yahtzee with them at their house because you're just that awesome. So I'm inviting this episode into my home to play Yahtzee because it gets an A++. I'll try not to adjust the grades for episodes too much in the future, so we'll see how this works out. Alright, I'll see you later.